yo, I think I've done it. The perfect live setup. Until I changed my mind. Hey, what's good? I just wanted to talk about my new live setup. Really simple, small, and run you through some of the tracks that I've made with this setup. And they're not fully done songs, and the reason for that's because I like to embellish on these songs when I'm performing live, give it a little bit more of a improvised, performance aspect. So, yep, enough blabbering from me. Let's just jump straight into it. Alright, so this is the main setup here. This has gotten me a lot of mileage. Basically, I got my analog bass sounds here. I got all my drums and other weirder percussion stuff here, and then sample playback from things I've made, like either on the MPC or in my studio downstairs. I could just record a stem of it here, and then it's my mixer. I also got all these things coming back in through here, and it's also my effects unit. So it kind of serves... Oh, and it's also sequencing this thing. So it kind of serves like 3 things at once, which are 3 power supplies I don't need to worry about, and 2 other machines that I don't need to have with me. This setup was heavily influenced by that whole Compact Creations thing I started a while back, and no, I'm not finished doing those. I've just been so busy with other videos. But yeah, I just kind of wanted a small, simple setup that could pretty much fit in my backpack. So this totally does do exactly that. I haven't figured out what effects unit I want to use with this, with the whole send and return to an effects unit thing that I've done with this thing. If you haven't seen that video, check this one out. It's pretty cool. I love doing it, so I'm either thinking a guitar pedal or probably just back to the SP404, which is a little big, so that's my only concern. All right, let's cut the chit chat and just get straight to it. Like I said, bass, mixer, sequencer, as well as sample playback, and then this is all my drums. Once in a while, I'll use the synth sounds on here. There's one synth sound that I really like for some reason. It's this one, but in a higher register. Sounds pretty cool to me, I don't know why. Especially with some music. So with all that, circuit is the master clock. If I press play here, it'll press play everywhere. Right, and the reason I have that is just because I need this to be the MIDI sequencer for this guy, so I need to use the out of this into here. I couldn't go out into here and then there's no through, so it would go out of here and then this would be the MIDI sequencer for that. The reason I'm not using that is because I can send program changes using the Octatrack to here, where it's a little funkier on circuit that it doesn't send the program change with the pattern change. It sends it as soon as you actually select the new program. So that's one step I didn't want to worry about when playing live. So on this track here, if I press play, all my drums are coming from circuit, samples from here, and then I got a bass line here. I can go to the next pattern, which is the bass, and then next pattern. And I also got some other patterns in here as well. Right, just like a more of a build-up one, because usually the 4th pattern I have like my little build-up-y type of thing. But what's cool about the Octatrack is I have circuit coming in on C. So if I really want it and build a really true build-up, I can say on the first step here, which is opening up the track, I can say turn the volume all the way down. So it just kind of like mutes it. Watch, it's going to come around here. Oh, and then I have to paste that across all the other steps because it's 64 patterns. Right? So it's still playing, it's just muted. I could even switch up to that and get ready for the next part, which has an effect on it. And then last. So these are all kind of just different effects. This is like a kind of just a master filter. And then this one is just for the drums. You can hear the drums get high pass, but I could also do that here. So, kind of serves the same purpose. This one here. LFO and whatnot to master. Let's see what this one is. This is just the effect for the sample. Oh, let me change that one. So check this out. I can then start building this down. I'll say there. And we'll go to patterns. If I jump to this pattern, it's going to change my part. So if I open up the parts, this is where it's really cool. Parts are per pattern. So we'll say there, and then watch. So the preset has changed now on Siren because it jumped to part 2. I'm not sure if you caught that earlier. It jumps to part 2, and in the part, that'll change kind of like the engines, right? But I don't change any of the engines except for the MIDI one. And the MIDI one, I just select a new program change. So that'll then change this for me as well as the sequence. But the reason I like having the drums on their own, not doing pattern changes, is because to me this is almost kind of like DJing, where I can have the drums of the last track still playing and then start incorporating the samples and bass line of the next track as I go. So you can hear that the sample of the next track's not playing because on this pattern I haven't enabled it yet. All I've done for this pattern is change the bass line of the whole performance and taken the sample out of this one. So it's slowly incorporating the next track. So let's hear what the next pattern does. Or I can just kick it here for a minute, right? And then go to sessions and jump to track 2. So let's do that. Boom, now we're kind of moving into the next track. And then, there it is. Let's see, there's super reverb on here. Oh, I think it just might be me on this end. There it is. So really simple. And this whole time I have Siren open, doing to whatever. But I've recently, so I went through this like back and forth with the Octatrack. I hate its MIDI sequencer. I can't stand it for polyphonic stuff. For MIDI stuff, oh my God, this thing is incredible. I have in here, CC's set to, it's not CC1. Oh, right. CC1 is set to 19, which is the filter cutoff. So I have a couple steps in here that have the filter cutoff jumping up. So watch. If I, you hear that? There it is. So no matter where this is, it'll still jump up and then jump back down to the original. So I can really just play this thing. Right? So I love it for MIDI stuff when it's monophonic. Polyphonic, I wouldn't even fully call this a polyphonic sequencer. It's just such a pain how you have to put the chords down. And each step has to be the same length for the chord, where you can't really do like overdubs. You can on circuit, which is awesome, but then the program change thing kind of kills me on that. So that's kind of this weird middle ground. I figured out that having preset changes was most important to me because it's kind of hard to do preset changes on here by just clicking around and keeping track of what number you are. Again, you don't want to be doing math while you're performing live. So I found this to be the best solution. But that's the next track. And then I got Bank 2 is going to be the next song. So in this pattern, this track here, we can go here. And I did that same thing where C now mutes circuit no matter what it's doing. And then this brings it back in. Oh, you know what I should do on this one? I'll take the, yeah, I'll set the start point. Maybe I can find some new weird things. Let's do this. Oh, it doesn't really do too much because I truncated the sample. That's kind of cool. Alright, let's jump to the next track. And then there we are. Into the next one. Drums of the old track still going. New bass. mute that, build it up, master high pass. And then next drums. Simple, super simple. Like, I don't even need to worry about this stuff. It's awesome. I just kind of have this going, doing this thing. I can play this whenever I want. Open up the filter, jump to the next pattern. Maybe jump to third pattern. Third pattern has that muted, and because of that, it kind of helps guide me along where the set can go. I know that it progressively goes through the song. So here you can hear that the sample on the last one, I don't trigger it. What tempo am I at? 120? That's slow. I'm usually at 124. I'm not sure if you saw me post this track on my Instagram, but this is what I'm kind of working on. Oops. This is basically the next song, but with these drums. And then I chop this sample up here. Pattern, select those drums. Hopefully YouTube doesn't pull this video for playing this part. That would suck. But anyway, that's really the setup. It's super simple. A bunch of things happen on the Octatrack, drums, and an analog bass. This basically, you know, I heard this quote from Sean Rudiman a while back, which is basically like, I'm going to butcher it, but the mileage you can get, and I've held this true to my heart, is if you have a sampler, a drum machine, and a synth, you can make almost any song forever. Like, this possibility is endless, the amount of things you can do with this. So consider trying to incorporate those three key elements, like, you know, just little stones in your setup, and then you can just embellish on that. But don't go too crazy, because when you're playing live, you don't want to be, you know, you don't want to be octopusing around. You just want to really focus on people dancing. People come there to dance, and, well, it depends if you're doing house music. I am. In a club where I'm playing, nobody wants to see you make a song for an hour. That's the most boring thing ever. Fully improvising a set, not that fun. This, it's pretty much pressing play and going through a lot of patterns and stuff, but what this also gives me the ability to do is play the filters, take some drums out quickly, which is why I like Circuit, because I can see two drum sequences at once. For example, here, if I wanted, I could just, you know, or just go crazy. And then build that up. And then just reload that. Super quick, like just improvising. I love to be able to improvise, but you need that safety net until you've really matured as an artist. I'm not even close to that. I'm still figuring all this stuff out the same way that you are. So remember, it's all right to have things pre-prepared when playing live, because the last thing you want to do is bore people and clear the dance floor. That ain't going to help you. That ain't going to help them. That ain't going to help you get booked more. Just come there and kill it. Knock it out the park and do what you got to do. Because again, half the people in the club, they're just drinking. They have no idea what the heck you're doing. So you might as well just be DJing, which is way easier. But, you know, what fun is that? Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate the thumbs up. Or, you know, subscribe if you can. It really helps out support the channel. Check out synthshit.com as well. I got a bunch of cool little merch up there. But yeah, anyway, until next week, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you then. You know the drill. Share the love. Share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace.